Welcome back, everybody. As you probably guessed from the title and the thumbnail, we are going over this rifle right here. This is the Palmetto State Armory GF5. So real quick, what does that mean? First off, we've already done a GF3 video. Definitely check that out. That rifle is still going. We've been using it in a number of different tests on the channel over the years since that video has been published. It still hasn't had any issues, which is nice. But the GF3 series is going to be very similar to the GF5. The biggest difference that you're going to see is going to be that the GF5 has a FN America cold hammer forged chrome lined barrel. FN barrels definitely known as some of the best in the world, and this has that on there, which certainly is something that a lot of folks find an attractive feature. But the GF3 is going to have a 4150 CMB nitrided barrel, and then the GF4 is going to have a cold hammer forged chrome lined barrel, but made in-house by the folks over at Palmetto State Armory. Beyond that, the biggest differences are going to be furniture packages, trigger packages, things like that. So we will walk through that on this rifle for sure. Take it apart, look at all of the, the wear patterns, all of those things that folks like to think about with US made AKs. Over the years, there have been some bombs with US made AKs for sure. Palmetto State Armory, particularly with the current generation of AKs they're putting out, seems to have gotten that right. We'll get into that more as we go on throughout the video, but let's just walk through the features on this particular rifle before we rip it apart and look at the inside. Like we mentioned, 16-inch FN barrel, definitely nice lightweight profile. Some AKs have heavier barrels, some AKs have a lighter weight profile. The PSAs have a lighter weight profile, which I personally like. AKs tend to be a little bit heavy and a little bit front heavy regardless, so that lighter weight barrel is certainly nice, and guys will see the accuracy here in just a second as well that this one here can produce. Our front sight on this particular gun is zeroed. Right now it's zeroed for 100 meters, and as you can see, it is centered, which certainly is nice. The gas block is centered as well. Nothing is off. The same is true with our rear sight block, rather, I should say, as well as a trunnion. If you look down it, like a lot of folks do who buy AKs, who have seen some crooked stuff in the past, if you look down it, everything looks nice and straight, which is nice. That has not always been the case, particularly with imported AKs over the years. Now, this one here does have a cleaning rod from the factory. That's one thing the GF3s do not have. Some folks love their cleaning rods. If that is you, you get one with a GF5. We also have a bayonet lug on there, so that way if you guys want to run your stabby things on there, you can do so. Have our sling attachment point there on the left side. This one here has the beautiful red furniture on there. It simply looks awesome, and that of course is all American made as well. Left side of the receiver, we do have our optics mount. Then we have an ALG match trigger in there, which we'll get to here in just a second. The Palmetto State Armory markings on there, which is cool. It's kind of like a Ismash, I guess, clone, but not a clone, and inspired by, let's say. And we do have our dimples in our receiver. Rear sight block there goes out to 800 meters. Traditional AK type ladder, nothing too fancy on there. Your gas tube, additionally, nothing too fancy, standard AKM stuff. So if you want to use a railed gas tube or anything like that, you certainly could do so. Safety on this is awesome. It is an enhanced safety that PSA is using on all their AKs now. As you can see, very easy to actuate both on and off. This one was a little bit tighter when I got it from the factory, but I did bend it a little bit to make it a little bit looser. Everybody has their preferences with AK safeties. I like mine a little bit on the loose side. There is a joke in there somewhere, but that is how I like it. And obviously it is a huge improvement over the standard AK that you have to either use your middle finger, or for lefties, use your thumb. You lefties out there know what I'm talking about. Now, the rivets on this gun are fantastic. No mushrooming, no weird press marks, anything like that. We will roll in photos that you guys can check out throughout. And then we do have our serial number as well as the ATF mandated information there on the bottom. Wood grip, obviously we already kind of talked about that, and then a Warsaw length stock with the sling attachment. With all that said, let's rip this thing apart, look at it up close and personal, then see what kind of accuracy we can get out of this rifle. This assembly of the rifle is standard AK, so there's nothing fancy at all with that. We're going to make sure it is unloaded, push our safety down, pull back. It is unloaded. We're going to pop our rear cover by pushing in here and pulling up, if I can do so. There we go. Take our recoil spring and assembly out. Pull the carrier and the bolt out, and we'll get a good look at that here in just a second. But I do want to go over what we see here just on the inside of the receiver itself. You guys can see we do have a touch of wear there on our front trunnion, but good honest wear, nothing crazy at all. Continuing rearward, you guys can get a look there at that ALG trigger, how it's holding up, how it is wearing there, and just overall how the receiver looks. I did wipe it down before this, so you guys should be getting a pretty good look at it. And then additionally, I do want to look at our bolt up close and personal. Now these, of course, are hammer forged bolts as well as the carrier. And you can see there the wear that we do have on our bolt, on the stem there, on the rear, nothing crazy going on. You can see our locking surfaces there. Hopefully we're rolling in photos for you guys to check out. The same is true here on the rear, or excuse me, on the bottom of the bolt. Get a look at all those good locking surfaces on our extractor there, and basically how everything is wearing in with the rounds that we've put through it. Now, one thing I know folks always want to know about, hopefully my camera will focus, is going to be that tail there on the AK, particularly a US made AK. That wear that you see on there, the slight mushrooming, the slight deformation, that was there after about maybe 300 rounds. And it hasn't progressed at all since then. So it stayed the same. It hasn't caused any issues with the trigger, which certainly is nice. But again, you can see the wear pattern on there, both in the cutout as well as the various parts of the actual carrier itself. And the same is true, a little bit of wear up there towards the piston. And that is the piston as clean as I can get it, at least for this video anyway. Now we're going to see what kind of groups we can get out of this rifle. So basically the setup is we have an old OSS pre-Huxworks can on there, no flash hider. We have a Midwest Industries mount there, as you guys can see on the scope mount rail, side rail, and a primary arms 1 to 6 ACSS scope. If you hear a helicopter, that is not your imagination. This is the second ACSS scope ever made. It probably belongs in a museum. Regardless, it works well with AKs because of the eye relief. And in the gun right now, we have some 122 grain Tula full metal jacket stuff, so nothing fancy. Target downrange at 100 yards, CTK precision rest, and super high speed sock. And I think that's it. See how she groups. That FN barrel. Alrighty, next load up is some old school Golden Tiger. This is, I believe, don't quote me on this, I believe 123 grain, but it's their hollow point with the lacquer and the purple sealant stuff. Used to be very, very popular. Interesting. Alrighty, and the last load up, just so you guys know it, I'm not locking that back, it's just got a tension on it. You don't have to do that if you don't want to. Last load up is going to be some vellum. This is a steel case made in Serbia. It's not match grade or anything like that. It just happens to be brass. So we'll try that out in here and see how it does. It's 123 grain load. All right, let's go check them out. My opinion, certainly not bad groups for the ammo. Again, nothing match grade at all. First up with the Tula, we had center to center there. We're right at 1 7/8 with that group. Then we went over here with the Golden Tiger, opened up a little bit. And obviously a totally different point of aim. We're aiming bottom left corner on all of these. And obviously it's just a rough 0 for shooting groups. So on that one, we're right at 3 1/8 inches on that group. And the vellum definitely shot the best. At least it looks like it anyway. Who knows? You never know until you get the tape measure out. But yeah, it definitely did. So center to center, We're right at 1 3/4 on that one. Again, no match loads, no hunting loads, nothing like that. So it definitely could tighten up, but I'll take that all day from an AK. So y'all have seen the innards of the rifle. You guys have seen the accuracy. One thing I didn't talk about, I talked about a little bit, I think during the accuracy, was the trigger. But that ALG trigger is an option that PSA does offer from the factory. I have a dedicated review of this trigger alone if you guys want to see that. But let's just run the action, make sure we are clear, send that home, and press the trigger. You guys can see it has a flatter face than most of your AK triggers out there. And it just has a slight bit of uptake. And you kind of roll through the wall right there. Right before it breaks, there's a little bit of like a hard wall, but not much. Now for an AK trigger, it's got a ton of a wall. But AK triggers, generally speaking, are kind of a roll through design rather than a hard wall like you'd get with like a Glock, for example, that many of you may be familiar with. And the reset, very tactile, very audible. And again, that's kind of your take up. Right there, I'm at the wall now. And that is your break. Very, very nice. Definitely helped with the accuracy that you guys saw in the beginning. And with the accuracy portion already out of the way, there's a couple things that we do need to discuss before we close the video out. So full disclosure, PSA did send this out for the review. That said, we've had PSA products come in here in the past and sometimes they've had issues, but they've always made it right, which definitely is nice, but we do point them out. Now this particular one right now has about 1,600 rounds through it. 0 issues of any kind at all. No malfunctions, both running the OSS suppressors as well as running the slant brake that it comes with. Optics, without optics, whatever the case may be, it has run 100%. Now, when I got it in, I did lubricate it. That was it. Other than that, we were off to the races, so you cannot do any better than that in terms of accuracy. Excuse me, in terms of reliability, you all saw the accuracy. Now, let's talk price point. So, price point on this one, it's going to depend on what you get. So, of course, they offer some models with like a full M-LOK rail. They offer some with just like a basic polymer, furniture set. They offer some with folding furniture set, some with Magpul. All of those different options are available, as well as standard trigger, ALD trigger, etc. So this particular one right now is going to come in right around, don't quote me on this because it changes over time, right around $999. Now, again, there are GF5s that are cheaper. There are GF5s that are more expensive. But again, it's 2022, the end of 22 as of when I filmed this. Now, if you guys look around at the AK market, you will see there is not a lot coming in at that price point anymore. 4 or 5 years ago, you could get an AK for a quality AK for $600-800. It's hard to do today. Now, I can't say it can't be done because, of course, the GF3 is out there, and like I've said, that thing runs great. There are some other budget options out there that we've reviewed in the past. I have a whole AK playlist. You guys can check it out. But in terms of bang for the buck, if you want that FN proven cold hammer forged chrome line barrel, it's definitely one I would take a look at for sure. Like I said, can't do any better in terms of reliability at all. And again, it's just a proven material. If you guys haven't seen the test that was done by the folks over at JMac, check it out. They went over 20,000 rounds. They converted one of these to full auto and just tried to ruin it. I mean, intentionally trying to destroy the gun. And it held up way, way better than I would have thought of it. Again, definitely check it out if you're interested. But again, that cold hammer forged chrome line barrel helps. The forged trunnion, the forged bolt, the forged carrier, all of those things help, as well as, of course, the receivers that PSA has gotten down by now, like we talked about as well with the rivets. They had a couple generations come out, but right now, I haven't seen anybody out there showing any evidence that there's any issues with the current made PSA AKs. They seem to all run really well. This would be an example of that. And I suppose with that, we'll close the video out. If you guys have any questions or anything like that, you can let us know down below in the comment section. You can let me know on my various social media sites here that you guys see on your screen. Additionally, if you like this type of video and you're not subscribed, go ahead and rectify that by hitting the subscribe button. If you've done that and you're not seeing 2 to 4 videos a week here on the channel, sign up for my email list here at the website on your screen. Even if you are seeing them, still sign up just in case. So basically, that email goes out once a month, and it goes out DFR direct from me to you, and that way there's no social media giant censoring your eyes for my content. It has all of my videos since the previous month's email went out. And again, that way we prevent censorship here on the platform, which I do dig. Additionally, if this goes on sale, if any of the optics that we use go on sale, if any of the side optics mount go on sale, silencers, ammo, any of that stuff goes on sale, it will be in my daily deals email, and you can sign up for that at the website here on your screen. And it goes out every day if it's in the email, if an item is in the email rather. It is the cheapest I know of anywhere on the internet, so that way you guys can save yourself some time and hopefully save yourself some money. And I think I just have one more point for you that we didn't discuss, and that was mag fitment. You guys should have seen throughout the video a ton of different mags being used, whether it be Comblock from Romania, we used Russian, we used Croatian, the new Gen 2s, we also used the Yugos, we used the Palmetto State Armory, we used the US Palm, we used the Magpuls. All of them fit just fine in this mag well. So with that, we'll close the video out. Thank you all for watching. I truly appreciate it. And I look forward to seeing all of you in the next video.